We're going to talk Super Bowl, but not yet. Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. Bryan, Leonard on. We got 2 college basketball games coming from him. Wake Forest and Duke, West Virginia at TCU. Adam Trigger will also be discussing some college basketball. Elon against Towson and Dayton against Duquesne. I know I pronounced that incorrect. And, of course, Andrew McInnis. He's got a hockey bet for us and an NBA bet. Andy Lang is my co-host today. Teddy had an emergency, had to run. Very little notice for Andy. So we're going with a no follow-up question day. Let's start. One of the greatest, Bryan Leonard, coming on right now, right here. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
It's the Duquesne year. The year.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Duquesnes. Yes. So, Bri, we're going to talk about your 5% play, which you've got up for tonight in NHL. We're going to do that later. I'm excited about it. While you're talking, I'm going to go take a peek to see if it's presidentially approved. Let's get into the first game. Wake Forest at Duke. You like Duke -7. Tell us why.
Yeah, this is, we're going to go with the 2 plays that I liked in college basketball today. This is going to be my free play. It's up on the site. And the others are paid play, but you're getting it here for free. Wake Forest and Duke. Wake Forest 16-7 on the season, 8-4 in the ACC. Pretty impressive. But when you take a look at that more granular look, they have had all their success at home. They're only 2-5 on the road, and those 2 wins came against Boston College and Georgia Tech, 2 of the lesser teams in the conference. They are off a tough home win, very physical home win, 83-79 over NC State on Saturday. So it's a 2-day comeback right after that. Duke 18-5 on the season, 9-3 in conference. They've won 13 out of their last 15 games. And they're 12-2 at home on the season. Losses coming to Arizona, one of the best teams in the nation, and Pittsburgh. These 2 top 55 teams in our ratings. I've got Arizona in the top 5 or so, and I've got Pittsburgh about 54. So 2 pretty good teams that they have lost to. The defeats also were by only 5 and 4 points, so they were right in those games. With Wake coming up short on the road this year and Duke dominating at home, I'm going to lay the number here with the Blue Devils. I saw one spot that dropped it down to 6.5. I think it was Circa here in Vegas, but most spots have it at 7. We'll lay it here with Duke.
Love it, Bryan. Already getting shout-outs that they love your jersey that you're wearing right now. We're going to take another favorite, it looks like, West Virginia at TCU. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, we're going to lay it here with TCU. I'm surprised the line's only where it is in the 12.5 range. I expected it to be about 1.5 higher, around the 14. But it's been a tough season for the Mountaineers. An 8-15 record, 3-7 in the Big 12. This team has yet to win back-to-back games all season. That's hard to believe from a team with the history of West Virginia not winning back-to-back games all year. Even worse, they're winless on the road. 0-9 record when they're not playing at home. Offense has been the big problem here. They have an effective field goal percentage of just 47.4. In true road games on the season, they have scored 55, 63, 59, 66, and 58 points. You're not going to beat TCU at home scoring those that little amount of points. TCU 16-7 on the season, 5-5 in conference. Horned Frogs, similar to Duke, are very good at home, 10-2 at home with just 1 loss by more than a point. They enter playoff back-to-back losses to Texas and the Cyclones of Iowa State, so you know they'll be focused in this one. TCU a solid 53.9 offensive field goal percentage. They enter the game off their worst offensive performance of the season, scoring just 59 at Iowa State. This should be a fired-up TCU team. I like to play better teams off of bad performances against a team that they can beat, and West Virginia hasn't beaten anybody on the road, so I think this is a blowout situation for TCU.
Bryan Leonard joining us, everyone, and I have checked out Bryan's 5% NHL play, and I am not against it. So, guys, head over to WagerTalk and grab this play. Bryan is so good in NHL, top 2 in profit over the last 7 years in the sport. Not only that, but his NHL 5% record, 44-27, which is really, really outstanding. 5% play up tonight. Please go grab it. Bri, what else do you have going on?
That's what I've got today. I was very particular yesterday in football. Didn't have anything on the side or total. Went 3-0 on props, so that's nice to do.
Nicely done.
So I'll take that, and let's build on that. As college basketball and hockey have been good all season for us. Let's keep that going.
Bryan Leonard, everyone. Thanks for joining us, Bri. Kick ass tonight. I'll be cheering for you.
Thank you.
Andy, what did bettors learn? So listen, let's discuss the Super Bowl. And before we get into, and I want to go into the whether you take the ball first or second in overtime, because I think that's a really, really interesting strategic question. But before we get into that, I do want to make mention, I went 5-4 on the Super Bowl for my clients, but I did have a losing day unit-wise. I had a 5% play on San Fran, and their kicker didn't get the memo. And I had the over, which I put in late and lost by half a point. But Andy, the play that really upset me the most and cost me a winning day, I had Brock Purdy over 12.5 yards. Now, that was not the best number out there. Had I have put it up 3 days earlier, I would have got 11.5, and it landed on 12. However, he was at 13, and with 3 seconds to go before overtime, he took a knee, which cut my yardage down. I don't understand for the life of me why that's not considered a sack. However, I had under 4.5 sacks. So had it have been considered a sack, I still would have lost my other prop bet. But man, I lost 2 bets by half a point yesterday, and it really pissed me off. With that said, shout out to Kansas City. Their defense played outstanding. We were watching a dynasty. They're going for the first ever three-peat next year. Good thing we don't have to worry about that. Andy, I want to know from you, and I have already tweeted out my thoughts, and I'll get into it a little later. Do you take the ball first or second in the overtime based on the new rules?
So in that scenario, I think both teams probably would have wanted the same thing. At least I would have. Like, if I was San Francisco, I would have wanted my defense off the field. They just gave up, a big drive. They were probably a little winded, and they could have used a little bit of time to gather their thoughts and get on the same page. And at the same time, the last time the 49ers offense was on the field, they drove down and scored. So if you're San Francisco, I would want my offense on the field. And then if I'm Kansas City, I would want my offense on the field. So I don't know. It's kind of one of those hindsight's 2020 thing. Yeah, you look back at it now and you could absolutely make the case for both sides. I thought it was very close. If I was San Francisco, I would have wanted my offense on the field first. I wanted to give my defense a little bit of break, regroup. But with the new rules, I don't think there's that big of a difference in there. Do you have a passionate opinion either side?
I think yes. And let me set it up by saying, let me talk to you about the advantages of both. So look, I get it. San Fran's defense was gassed. And ultimately, and Dave Koken texted me privately about this, if San Fran takes the ball first and scores 3 points or 7 points, and Kansas City then matches them, then San Fran has the ball in a sudden death environment on that third possession. That would be the main reason why you take it first. And on top of that, your defense is gassed. So that makes sense. With that said, I think it's an egregious mistake to take the ball first. Firstly, you get 3 timeouts. There is never a time when you need those timeouts as far as stopping the clock in that situation. If you do get a third go with the ball, you're going to have 3 or 4 minutes to get the ball into field goal range to win the game. You don't need the timeouts. If your defense is gassed, take all 3 timeouts in the first possession, and there is another, 5 minutes to rest your defense. Furthermore, if your defense is gassed, may I suggest better training, more cardio, get fit. What the hell, guys? Rugby players play 90 minutes, constant moving. Soccer players play 90 minutes, constant moving. I have no issue. This defense gas nonsense I don't buy it. If you take the ball second, you get 4 downs. If you take the ball first, you get 3 downs. Would Kansas City have punted on that 4th and 1 had they have had the ball first? Well, I guess we never will know. And that is, to me, a horrific strategic decision by Mike Shanahan. I don't care if the defense is gassed. So what? So then Kansas City marches down the field and gets a touchdown. Well, now you know you have 4 downs to get a touchdown. Kansas City marches down the field and gets a field goal. Well, now you know you have 4 downs on your side of the field to get a field goal or a touchdown. I don't buy it. I think it was a horrible mistake. With that said, I find it a fascinating conversation, and I do understand the other side's argument. Guys, put up in the comments after the show goes live what you would do if what Andy?
They're putting it in the chat section what they would do.
No, I'm saying after the show goes live, save it. Let's read what they have. Gordon Matlers, love the show, but there's one thing I hate, and both Teddy and Steve do my head in with their sharp square stuff. Meaty Petey, I have never seen your name before. Thanks for logging on, brother. I don't know what he writes. Andrew Wojciak says exactly, Prez. That's the most important piece to read. Anytime someone says exactly, Prez, I totally agree with them. Andrew, I got 9 shows to Dead and Company, May 16th, 17th, June 6th, and 7th. And the last 3, baby, July 11th, 12th, and 13th. I am totally freaking pumped up over the Dead. What did Ray D'Amico say? Agree, Prez. Yeah, Ray agrees. Andy, what did you think about the Usher halftime? I thought it was the biggest load of garbage I've ever seen.
You know what? It seems it's almost like a generational thing because I didn't like it. I thought it was bad, but I know that a lot of younger people really, really liked it. If I'm ever doing a halftime show, I will tell you there's one person I'm not bringing on stage with me, and that's Alicia Keys, because Alicia Keys is always just going to be the best singer on stage. I was like, man, that's pretty bold to bring out somebody that's better than you at your own halftime show. So listen, I've heard all those songs for years and years and years. The halftime show did not do it for me. There was a cleavage bet on Taylor Swift that did not hit, but I did not expect the cleavage bet to hit on Usher. So whatever. Yeah. It seems like it was a success for Usher because a lot of people did like it. I also think it's kind of a no-win situation. These halftime shows, it feels like you're never going to be able to please everybody with it. But for me, was not for me. I thought it was one of the worst ones.
Yeah, Andy, I totally agree. And the thing about it is, and guys, we've got Adam Trigger coming up with 2 college basketball bets, as well as Andrew McInnis. And Andy does have a big game breakdown. If you like what you're hearing, please take 2 seconds out of your day and hit that thumbs up button. Andy, I put up on Twitter that I thought the Usher show was garbage. And I mean garbage. Like it was, I didn't even find it music. I just found it like a bunch of noise, put together. I get to use this word rarely, a cacophony of noise assembled together for no particular purpose. And then people started yelling at me, go to bed, old man. It's past your bedtime, old man. Guys, Usher is 45 years old. 45. He has not been relevant for 2 decades. He should have gone to bed. He's an old man too. And as for the generational divide, He's 45. He's part of my generation, not the kids who are watching's generation. Why do you take a has-been from 20 years ago, put him on stage to sing crap with a terrible sound? The best part of the show was the guy who did the headstand. Anyway, Adam Trigger, you're young. Did you like Usher? And I'm not saying Usher's bad. The show.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, I didn't have a problem with
That's
it.
a no.
Yeah, it was fine. It was okay. Prez, what do you want him to come out? You want like a Slipknot, Franklin's Tower, 20-minute halftime show, and you know, like
No, especially not Slipknot. There are no lyrics. And no, I don't think the Grateful Dead should perform the halftime show. No, no. With that said, I think you two might be in Vegas. I could be positive that U2 is in Vegas, and I'm thinking they might have pleased everyone, Andy. There's very few who don't like U2, and they happen to be there. Adele is in Vegas. I mean, Usher. Oh, my Lord.
Hold on. Time out. The reason Usher was there is because he's promoting an upcoming tour. These halftime acts
on him.
do not get paid.
Why should the
They
Super
don't
Bowl
get
give a
paid.
shit?
They come out of pocket. That's why these acts are picked. They're not picked because of popularity. They're picked because they have something to promote and they're willing to pay out of pocket for the extra production. The Super Bowl committee wasn't like, we have to nail down Usher. The Super Bowl committee was like, oh, Usher's got a tour coming up, so let's see if he's interested. You don't get paid. You have to pay for the extra production, and it was worth it because his ticket sales are going to double. The price is going to double. It was a home run for him.
I don't know.
That's why Usher was the halftime show.
I think didn't The Weeknd pay well over and above? Like he went way over the budget to make sure he had a great show. It's a good point. Yeah,
millions.
Yeah. I think Metallica is touring. Anyway, Adam, I'm going to ask you about the overtime decision. But before we get into that, Elon over Towson. Elon is plus 12. Where are you going in this game?
Yeah, so I like the dog here. Did not make my card. I only have one play for today. It is a 5% play. College basketball on 8-1 in my last 9 5%ers and haven't lost a 5% college hoop game this year. Well, 2024 so far. But this one missed my card. And you know, I know if Teddy was on the show today, he'd always ask me like, well, why didn't it make your card? And the reality is Elon's just not a very good basketball team. So if this does, I guess my goal here is like, I mean, if you like Elon and agree with me, go for it. But really, like, I just don't think you should be laying 12 with Towson in this game. And I'll break down why I think that. So, you know, Elon, like I said, not a great team, 3-8 in CAA play. They're 2-8 on the road this season. But I think them being a bad team is priced into the number here. And once you get these scenarios, guys, where it's priced in how poor the team is, I think you have to start really looking at the matchup and seeing if the matchup would be good for Towson. And I actually think this matchup doesn't do Towson, you know, many favors. So what people are going to look at here quickly is the fact that Towson should destroy Elon inside and on the boards, which is true. Towson will probably have a huge rebounding advantage in this game, but I don't think that's enough for them to just win this game because they have been at times downright awful offensively this year. 326th nationally, field goal percentage, 41.3%. They're a terrible free throw shooting team, and they're horrific from three. So what Towson's going to do is just play volleyball essentially on the glass and try to get their points that way. But it's not very efficient, and I don't know if it covers 12 here. Because, you know, Elon, like I went to an Elon game earlier this year. They got crushed inside against Northeastern, but that's a Northeastern team that scores at a high rate. Towson does not. You know, on the other side, all Elon wants to do is shoot 3-point shots. They're going to take 20 minimum 23-pointers a game, and they'll make very little effort to go inside, which is actually not the worst thing in the world here because Towson is fantastic on the interior. They defend the inside. You're not going to get a rebound against them. You're not going to get second chance points against them. So actually, you know, just bombing threes actually makes sense against Towson. And it's actually what Elon does well. If you look at their numbers, they don't do much great offensively, but they do shoot the three well. They're a 37% three-point shooting team as a team. It's like top 60 in the country. They also shoot like 46% from the field. So while they do take a lot of jump shots, they are getting good looks, and they only turn it over 11 times per game. The only team that Towson is beat by this margin in Colonial Athletic Association play this year was Campbell, an equally bad team to Elon. But the difference between Campbell and Elon is Campbell turns it over a ton, and they'll try to take the ball inside. Two things you just shouldn't do against Towson. Elon's not going to do either of those things. They're going to take threes. They're going to live and die by the three, but they do shoot the three well enough where if they're falling, they're probably going to be in this game, and they're probably going to cover 12.
Love it, Adam. The next game is, I believe, not for today, but Prez, how do you pronounce the opponent of Dayton? What is it?
Dayton over Duquesne.
All right. Yeah, so Adam, you've got a good play for Dayton over Duquesne. Who do you like in this matchup?
Yeah, there's no way Marco can be happy about this. That's Duquesne. It's right in Pittsburgh, right in the city of Pittsburgh. And they're at Dayton, a place I just was a couple weeks ago. Now, I chose this game to talk about on the show today because it's a pretty light day for Monday. I didn't have many, other big time opinions on Monday's slate, but I have kind of nailed Dayton lately. I've bet them their last three games. I cashed either on or against them. I was at the St. Bonaventure Dayton game, cashed with St. Bonaventure. Came back with Dayton against St. Joe's. I won that one. And then on Friday, my most recent 5% play was VCU against Dayton, who upset Dayton. They didn't really upset them, but they won as a small underdog in that game. And so I'm hoping I get the number to come back with Dayton here. And the reason I think I might, we don't have a line for this game yet. It's not until tomorrow. But the reason I think I might get the right number for this game is because of how this was priced the first time. So I actually remember doing the College Hoop show. It was a Friday. It was Dayton at Duquesne earlier this year. And I remember just being shocked that Dayton was a 1-point underdog in that game. I think some of that had to do with Colby Elvis potentially missing the game, although he was ruled in. And it turned out to be a no-doubt win. Dayton won by 10. They never should have been a dog. Deron Holmes, who's kind of emerged as the best player in the Atlantic 10 Conference at 33, 12 for 18 shooting from the field. Duquesne had no answer from him. It was an easy Duquesne win. And it was a game where Dayton did not shoot the three particularly well. They I think they were only 5 or 17 from three in that game. And this is a Dayton team that even with the poor 3-point shooting performance on Friday night, they're still fifth nationally, 39.5% from three. And they shoot it a lot better at home, where they're 11-0 on the year. I have to say, one of the better atmospheres I've been in. I've now been to 40 different arenas in the past 2 years. UD Arena a couple Fridays ago for the St. Bonaventure game was phenomenal. They have great fans there, great student section, and they play well at home. This season's been no different. They haven't lost on their home floor this year. Going back to Friday, the reason I liked VCU so much in that game is it was just a horrible matchup for Dayton. No one is guarding the perimeter right now better, and maybe in all of college basketball, than VCU. And Friday night was no different. Dayton was 4 of 17 from three in that game, in what ended up being a 49-47 final. So remember, that's it. 4 of 17 from three is 20-something percent. This is a Dayton team that's shooting close to 40% from three on the season. Duquesne comes off an outright winner of St. Bonaventure. So I think you're going to have that priced into the number as well. And now they're going to have to go on the road where they haven't been as good against a Dayton team that should be a little bit upset about that loss. Of course, they defended well. They held VCU without a point for the final 6 minutes of that game and didn't win. They lost 49-47. So it wasn't the Dayton defense that cost them that game. And it's a Dayton defense that's been better. Had St. Bonaventure not hit a couple threes late, they wouldn't have covered a couple weeks ago against Dayton either. So I'm hoping we get the right number here, guys. If Dayton is even remotely playable in this game, I haven't even really decided. They were -7.5 at home against the Bonnies. I'm pretty sure I would lay something like that. If Dayton is remotely playable in this game, I will be on Dayton here, and this is a Tuesday night game. So check back once those lines are posted.
Adam Trigger, everyone. And guys, in the chat room saying, "Oh, why are you wasting our time talking about Usher?" We have given you Duke -7, TCU -12.5, Elon +12, and Dayton. That's 4 so far. Andrew's got 2 coming up. That's 6. Andy's got 1. That's 7. If I get to 100 likes today, we'll go with just 100. I'll give you 3 NHL bets. That's 10. So I think we're got this all covered. Adam Trigger has a 5% play up tonight. It's in college basketball. It's a sport he absolutely dominates. He's on an 8-1 run in these 5% college basketball plays. Adam Trigger, would you have taken the ball first or second in overtime?
Yeah, you have to take it first. They didn't know the rule. Like, I wish they would just come out and
you have to
admit
take
it.
it second.
Yeah, did I mess that up? I'm sorry. You have to take it second. That's what I meant. I meant the opposite of what the 49ers did. As someone that was on the 49ers, I wanted them to do the opposite of what they did. Yes, I'm sorry. You have to take it second. I wish they would just come out and be like, you know what? We didn't know. We messed that up. My bad. Like, I don't buy the defense that needed a rest type deal.
Bullshit.
They made a mistake. They made a mistake, and it cost them the Super Bowl, unfortunately.
Well, it might not have cost them the Super Bowl, but it certainly was a strategically bad mistake. I would have preferred they hit that damn extra point and we see what Mahomes can do with 6 seconds left in the game. And then Purdy wouldn't have taken a damn knee. Anyway, Adam Trigger, thank you for joining us, brother. Be good. Kick ass tonight. Lots of luck on your 5% college basketball play. I'm sure it'll be a winner. Andy Lang, we got lots of promotions going on over at WagerTalk.com. The big one is our yearly package, and it does expire soon. I think it expires on Valentine's Day, which is coming up. Right now, you can get the rest of February. What is this promo? I think I've messed this whole promo up, dude. Let me read this thing. Buy one day.
It's the sweetheart of a deal.
Yeah, you tell us. I'm all promoed up to my yin yang right now. What's the promo?
Okay, so it's the Valentine's Day special because we love you all. You get a 1-day all access pass, and you get 2 additional days free. So this is an absolute it's buy 1 get 2 free. It works on any handicapper. So if there's sports that you're really interested in now that NFL's gone and we don't have all these sports to research, if you're looking to try some NHL plays or some college basketball plays or NBA plays, or you already have a handicapper that you love, you can get 1 day and it extends for 2 more days after that. Fantastic deal.
Guys,
buy 1 get 2 free.
Guys, please don't use that promo on me. I prefer you paying me for all 3 days. I deserve it. I'm up in every bloody sport. So use that promo on Andy, who is a betting god. Andy, we got your big game breakdown coming up right now. And then I got a ski video to show you all. Go ahead, my friend.
Well, we've heard the phrase 2 teams going in opposite directions, and there may not be a bigger example of that in the NBA than the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Philadelphia 76ers who play tonight. This is a Cleveland Cavaliers team that has won 17 out of 18 games. They are on fire. This is a Philadelphia 76ers team that is reeling without Joel Embiid. Since he's been out, they've beaten Utah and Washington. That is it. Some of these games, they've been very lopsided. And when we look at some of the advanced stats since Joel Embiid went out and we compare these 2 teams, there really is no comparison. The biggest difference is the defensive rating in the last 9 games. Cleveland is number 1 in the NBA with a defensive rating of 105.4. Philadelphia 76ers second to last at 123.9. So they are one of the worst defensive teams, and it makes sense. No rim protection without Joel Embiid. And we look at the offensive rating. It's a Cleveland Cavaliers team that over the last 9 games, this is your 6th best offensively rated team. Philadelphia 76ers are down in 25th. We all know Joel Embiid means a lot to the 76ers, and the numbers are playing that out. So what do we do with this game? Well, you can lay the 10 points. I certainly wouldn't be mad at that. The total sits at 230, which I think is about accurate. I am looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers over their team total of 120.5. This is a 76ers team that just gave up 113 to the terrible Washington Wizards. Before that, they gave up 127 points each to Golden State and to Atlanta. When you look at this Cleveland Cavaliers team, they're coming off of 3 road games. They had yesterday off, so they're rested. They're at home. Their last home game, they scored 136 against Sacramento. Before that, 128 against Detroit. It's a Cavaliers team that probably would love to lay a big number